Make an offer to RB Leipzig for Sesko.
Oh, God.
The striker favours Old Trafford.
Oh! Don't act surprised.
Bet you're doing the Poznan at Oasis. I bet Scholes would have done that as well.
I bet he wouldn't.
I think we smash Arsenal first game of the season.
For me, I want a price tag over at least £150 million.
No chance.
In for Isak.
They've got the project in Hoyland. What they needed was your centre forward ready to go.
If he's 150, what's Haaland?
Well, you only paid 50 for him, didn't you?
Ambition for the season is to be 16th. That's the ambition.
That's good. Hands off that.
Mainly down to Gary Neville's industry.
Is that the same industry that you benefit from coming on this show?
Well, you've got to pick your battles, I guess.
Who ever thought Carragher would defend Gary Neville so passionately?
Because I'm getting paid by him. Thanks for joining us on the Fan Debate, brought to you by Sky Bet. This is part 2 of our season preview. Scholesy alongside me as usual. Scholesy, we're just on the back of the off-season now. What was your favourite bit of the off-season, holiday-wise?
Going on holiday. Yeah, going on holiday, bit of golf.
You're into your golf, aren't you?
Yeah, I love a bit of golf.
Are you good at it?
All right, I'm all right. How about you?
Oh, I hate it.
No, I meant holidays.
Oh, holidays, I beat that, love it. Yeah, you can imagine what it was like. We'll leave it there. Right, so we'll be going through first. We've got to beat to Man City, Luke. Are you still getting over the Club World Cup? Because, I mean, we spoke to Rory, he said it's this big, huge, fantastic trophy. They're delighted to have won it. I mean, are you devastated you never?
Nah, I mean, it'd have been great to win, obviously, but I don't think it's going to make or break the off-season for me. But, yeah, I went out there, it was pretty cool. The atmosphere at the American game was a bit weird, to be honest. Nothing like we get over here. So, for me, it was just a reason not to make sure none of the games end up out there permanently. I don't want to see any games outside of England, to be honest.
Do you think sort of what we all saw last season was Man City? We were all sort of like almost couldn't believe what was going on. Really, just don't expect that from Pep's teams really more than sort of a Man City thing. The last time, or certainly his first season in English football, he didn't win a trophy. And then I'm looking at the stats here. He then went on to win 18 trophies in 7 years. So you didn't win that trophy last season. I think we all know Pep's not going to be here for 7 years. But Are you expecting a big comeback from Manchester City next season? I think I'm expecting a big comeback. The kind of second half of last season, after the big rot, if you want to call it that, we were decent. We finished the season quite well, and I think it's a big rebuild now. It reminds me a lot of the 2017-18 season, where we obviously went out and got quite a lot of players then. Brought in some big names. I like Reinders. Aitnor as well from Wolves. We know what he can do going forward. So I think there's just going to be a lot more energy in the team.
Big names.
Say it again.
Big names.
Come on, Mbomo. But yeah, I think we have got some good names coming in. Cherky as well. James Trafford to look to challenge Ederson. So I think, yeah, there's a lot of change and transition. But last time we had a season anywhere near this, we went on to get 100 points. So I do back us.
Near James Trafford levels.
Ooh, a bit harsh that, Adam. We'll see where that comment gets you in a few months, mate.
James Trafford isn't going to prove me wrong, is he?
Okay, mate. I think he will. But yeah, no, I'm confident for the new season.
Do you think he's going to be a keeper?
I think Ederson will start as number one. I think by the end of the year, Ederson will be on the way out and James Trafford will be number one.
Ederson's not been the same, has he?
I think it didn't help. Well, obviously the whole team was pretty poor last season, but I think Ederson generally, he had a lot of injury problems, so he constantly in and out of the team. You never want that with a goalkeeper. You want a safe pair of hands that's always there. So yeah, I think last season wasn't his finest, but yeah, you got to back him, haven't you?
So sorry, Joe, because I always think of City and Pep at the start of a season. He almost uses the first 5 or 6 games as a pre-season, which is why they finish strong. You mentioned finish strong, so you said there they finished strong again last year. I'm not sure you can afford to do that now with the teams that are around, the likes of Liverpool. Can you afford to take them first 5 or 6 games as a pre-season campaign, if you like? Because have City had any pre-season games?
We've got one against Palermo, and that's it. We've had a couple behind closed doors ones. I know
you've been over there, but you didn't. You weren't over there for long, were you?
Yeah. I think the break will help, though. I think we needed a break. The silver lining to going out was that we have such a long period of time to kind of just relax, and all the players got a month off. Obviously, like you said, only one or two pre-season games, so it's not going to be a fast start. It never really is with Pep. But
I just worry you can't afford that, especially when you're chasing again. You always think if we lost the league, you think the next year right at the start we've got to be going straight away. You've got to be ready now. I know that's not the way Pep does it. And, who are we to question what Pep does? It just doesn't feel the right thing.
Chelsea will be then better prepared for the new season than perhaps City will, because there has been no break. There's been no break in there.
I think they'll burn out though. That was the fear of City.
How long will it be? Will it be a month then from when Chelsea? Because again, they've not had another game, have they?
Yeah, I think Chelsea will start well, and then I think they'll burn out by Christmas time because they're going to have that many games in a row.
Is the worry? Listen, I didn't watch a lot of the Club World Cup, but I've seen the goals that you conceded in the game that you went out to the team from. I think it was
Al Hilal.
Yeah, but it was a lot of what was wrong with last season. When you saw City having problems last season, it was getting done on the counter-attack and getting huge problems. Was that a worry for you? And is that a worry for you going into this season? Because if that doesn't get fixed, you can't win the league.
No, it was a really bad performance, and it was the transitions, it was the counters that just ruined us all game. But we did look so good in the game before against Juventus. So for me, I'm not really going to judge one game and say we're finished, we're not going to be good enough or whatever. It was a bit concerning to see that again after kind of a good start, but I think we'll be all right. I really do think we'll be all right. And
I think, I don't think enough is mentioned about goalkeepers. You think of the best team, look at the best team last year with Liverpool. The best goalkeeper in the world. I think when you win in leagues, Ederson was up there. I don't think he was ever quite at Alisson's level, but I'd say he was a top keeper. Now, I don't think that Ederson worries me for City. And again, as Adam says, I don't think James Trafford, from his experience in the Premier League when he was in it the first time, great with his feet, brilliant. But I think your feet, I know it's a big part of it these days, but I think it starts to be secondary. You start to be a presence in the goal. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking at Alisson and thinking, I don't know how to score past him. I think every other keeper in the Premier League, I think, could score past him.
Scholes, I think that is when you think of team. Man United started winning leagues when Schmeichel. I think of Everton as a kid, Neville Southall. You change your keeper. Pep brought Bravo. But as soon as you brought Ederson, you started winning the league.
Yeah.
Liverpool bring Alisson, they start winning the league. Chelsea start winning the leagues when they bring Petr Cech in. Scholes, he's spot on. I think there probably is something in that about the goalkeeping situation, and that's why I know Rory's not here, but no matter what Chelsea have done or what they spend, they can't win the league. Because they haven't got a goalkeeper to win the league.
I do agree.
You were a mess last year goalkeeper-wise, weren't you? You didn't know who was going to play.
In and out, you don't know what's going on. I think this will help because he's 22. He conceded 15, 16 goals all season. I know it's the Championship. He kept 30-odd clean sheets. I know, like I said, it's a Championship. He's beefed out a lot since, he's in the Premier League.
That's what I say. It is about his presence.
Beefing
He's
out.
not even thinking he's the best goalkeeper. Goalkeeper, I was with Peter Schmeichel every day, watching him and thinking, I'm going to score past him. Now, I don't want to be disrespectful to James, but I look at him and think,
you think that's a bit of pressure?
I can understand that, but I think maybe psychologically in your head you're thinking about the last time he was in the Prem or a couple of years ago. I think when you watch him when he is playing for City, and I don't think any City fans will disagree with this. I don't think he's going to come in and be the starting goalkeeper straight away. I think he's there. He's going to be a big presence to challenge Ederson, and I think in a year's time he will have the number one spot to himself because I think Ederson will probably.
I think in a year's time you're buying a new goalkeeper.
You do.
If Liverpool signed James Trafford, you'd be buzzing.
I wouldn't. I really wouldn't.
You would. I know we haven't got a great goalkeeper, so.
But
what about Rodri now as well? Because he obviously broke.
Yeah, so he came back for the Club World Cup, played a couple of games, sort of 60-odd minutes, and then he's just returned to training yesterday.
Right.
So I'd hope in a couple of weeks for the start.
He will make a big difference on it.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think you can underestimate the goalkeeper position.
Luke, I know we bring it up every time we're on the show, but I'm going to go to you, Martin. Where are we up to right now on the 115 charges? And it feels to me. It's a bit like Brexit, where in the end it just goes on that long. Everyone's just bored of it, even if it just. Is it going to come to an end? This will it ever come to an end?
I mean, I can't believe that it hasn't already come to an end, and I don't think anybody would predict it was going to last this long. I noticed that actually the Premier League brought a new rule book last week where they said that the judges are going to sit on arbitration panels have to. Say in writing that they can dedicate the necessary time and diligence to doing these tribunals, and I just wonder if it didn't explain why, but I wonder if that is a factor here, that perhaps the people sitting on this panel, the three people, they've got other commitments maybe, which has delayed things. I don't know that, but some people have said to me, the reason it's taking so long means that the serious charges have been proven. Other people have said the reason it's taken so long is that the serious charges haven't been proven. I don't think we can read anything into it. But as Daniel Levy...
So is it just down to sort of the people involved in terms of the judges, or is there anyone you can point a finger at why it's taken so long?
It is now just down to the 3 judges or retired judges sitting on this panel. They finished the hearing in December, and so 8 months now. And I mean, it is the most serious, huge case of its kind that English football has ever seen. So you can understand why they want to be absolutely certain of every single factor. And there's so many different alleged rule breaches. 115. That they want to make absolutely sure that their decisions are watertight. So you can see why it's going to take a long time, but this long, and as Daniel Levy said to Gary Neville a couple of days ago, it's not good for the Premier League. All the clubs, they want it finished one way or the other.
You're supporting us, aren't you?
What's that?
You're supporting us, aren't you? Bet you're doing the Poznan at Oasis.
Where are we going here? I'm talking about Oasis. I didn't actually. I was there a couple of nights ago. Have you been? Have you been?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good.
Pep was there as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah. Good.
Yeah, I went. I didn't think Heaton Park was for me. I thought more Wembley. Where were you?
Yeah, Heaton Park.
Okay, yeah, good.
Good top stuff, yeah. Doing the Poznan.
Singing along?
Fans. Yeah,
the Poznan, yeah.
Bet Scholes would have done that as well.
I bet he wouldn't.
Adam, Man United. We do this show every season. There's always that optimism with a few new signings. You make the case for it being another good season.
I'm just an optimist, innit? I'm always going to be that way, especially in pre-season after I get back a little bit tipsy from wherever we've been. So, usual for me to be optimistic. But I think being in and around the team and the camp and stuff, and seeing how Amorim is with the support staff that he's got there, Wilcox and Barada and stuff, I think there's clearly a more collaborative effort going on at Manchester United, and it's clear that everyone seems to be on the same page. I think with our squad as well, look, we've got some big gaps in there. I think we need a striker. I think we need to sort out that midfield, and we definitely need a goalkeeper. We're talking, with Luke about their goalkeeper situation. United have a similar urgency to address that, but
take the Dubravka again if you want.
Oh, nah, thanks. Also, we don't want to be helping you like that.
We need help.
But I look at that squad, and I think we haven't got any players that are injured, like that we're waiting for to come back from a World Cup. We've kind of had the full squad together. Even some of those injured players that haven't been able to play have been over there with the team, and it does feel like for once we haven't got, because we spoke to a few players, Luke Shaw, we spoke to Paddy Dorgu, we spoke to Lenny Yoro, and they were all kind of saying there's no stragglers here. They were all kind of on that same page, and it feels like everyone's moving in the right direction. But of course, you have to get results, and you have to get results early on in the campaign.
Who do you think he was aiming the stragglers comment at? I saw that, Luke Shaw.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of them.
I've got to say, was it himself? You've not played a game for 2 years, have you?
Yeah, he's one of them. But I think, obviously, the group that was left out, Anthony, Sancho, Rashford. The thing with Luke Shaw is his issue is he's injured and he's on big wages. I don't think he's ever been probably a problem in terms of his attitude and stuff in and around the training camp. And
when he's fit, he is one of the very best.
But I think, again, he's becoming a left centre-back now because he can't do that left wing-back role.
Yeah, he has to be. There's no way he can get up and down a pitch.
But I was impressed with Patrick Dorgu over there, actually, in the way he performed in there. Obviously, he's a raw talent, and I think last season people were quite harsh on him and some of his performances. What
about the new lad, Adam? What was he like, the new left-back?
Diego Leon.
Yeah.
He's very raw, very young, but he has some potential there and some ability, and I think he's suited to that role. I think Kobe Mainoo looks different. He's obviously bulked up a little bit. He looks like he's on that Leon Goretzka
I thought he looked fitter.
Moment. Yeah, he looks a bit fit. And the manager spoke about...
to be fair, I think they all looked a little bit fitter. I think it was like a rule that they had to come back in a certain condition by the looks of all of them.
And the manager spoke about him. He said he thinks he's hugely talented and he's got massive potential and stuff, but he mentioned him kind of walking through games at times, and I think he wants to demand that physical
I think that's his demeanour. That's the way
yeah. He's too good.
He
That's
just
why.
looks like that, doesn't he? I think we spoke last year about what they probably lack in the midfield there is that controlling midfield player, and I thought that was going to be him. It seems like it's a little bit confused now. Can he be that midfielder?
Fernandes?
Yeah, no, sorry, Kobe Minu. Can he be that midfielder who can play in a 2? But he'll obviously need a lot of legs around him. Or is he now one of the 10s? I'm just confused about
Where will Bruno Fernandes play?
I think part of the front three. I think depending on what happens with our striker situation, I think you look at the market and it's ridiculous at the moment. I mean, I don't fancy any of the strikers that are kind of out there. I mean, when you look at the price tags on the likes of Sesko, it's like, what has he done to justify 80, 90 million pounds? Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous. But I think I wouldn't be surprised to either see and then Mbeumo go through the middle, or Mbeumo, or whatever you want to call him, and then Bruno maybe become part of that front three, or even, do you remember in the cup? I know it was under Ten Hag, but in the cup final we played Bruno kind of like a false 9. And that worked. I wouldn't be surprised to see that.
Because he's your best player, he almost, it was a little bit like Steven Gerrard with us, where you want him in every position, you know, but because what Scholes is saying United lack in terms of a controller in midfield, he's not that, but he can handle the ball better than your central midfield, and then you still want him in that position as well. But I'm just thinking, because you've obviously bought those 2 players for those attacking number 10 positions, haven't you? Sort of, you know, cutting inside on sort of Cunha on the sort of the left and Mbeumo on the right. But even though he is your best player, I almost think, I'm not quite sure the system suits him. He's not amazing. You don't really want him centre midfield, and it's probably more suited between the lines. But he runs all over the place, doesn't he? Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You'd think in an ideal world he's perfect for one of these 2 10s that he plays, but because he doesn't have discipline to play in that position, he's everywhere. But it's because he's needed everywhere. Maybe if you sign a better midfield player, or Kobe Manu sits back into that midfield role and starts to dictate, then it might become a bit easier. He won't have to be the here, there and everywhere. Jamie's right. He has to do everything, because I don't think there's the quality around him.
Yeah, I think that comes from frustration from him as well. Obviously, he wears his heart on his sleeve sometimes. It gets the better of him, I think, at times. But I do think that's more necessity rather than him being ill-disciplined, because I think tactically he works quite well with managers. I, though, kind of had the feeling United probably wouldn't have minded him accepting the move to Saudi, you know. It did kind of feel like, I don't think they were going to force him out of the club. I think he's the club captain, and I think he's a fantastic player. And I'm personally happy that he stayed. But I wouldn't have been surprised if United were kind of going...
Imagine if they didn't have him now, though.
Yeah, I know.
Was it 100 mil he got offered?
Well, I don't think an offer ever got made because he didn't seem keen on really leaving, but I think it probably could have.
I think you're right, Adam. What you said right at the very start, there's still big gaps. It feels promising with the 2 forwards. You look excited, and Højlund's not going to play, is he? If them 3...
He didn't start him in the last...
No, that's what I mean. The 3 of them, they look quite good together. I'm not sure how that will work. I still think they'll be all over the place a little bit, but there's still gaps in the team.
That midfield's the big one for me, because I'm not sure about...
Legs and quality and control, definitely. I think the goalkeeper, we mentioned the goalkeeper. Goalkeepers are massive. I think United, we talked about before about goalkeepers, Schmeichel. It took us ages to replace him. Van der Sar was like 5 or 6 years down the line, I think. Look, whether they're just going to hope for one reason or another that he comes good, I don't know. But
it's mad to think Tom Heaton's our best keeper.
He can't do anything defensively. Tom Heaton, no.
He's our best keeper. It's mad to think that.
They've already got 5 or 6 centre-halves on big contracts, so there's
Why did he go? I don't know why United went for Onana when they were conceding. They're going to concede so many chances. Like, they've gone for like a ball-playing goal. I didn't get.
Well, we bought him as a ball-playing goalkeeper. Then we decided to get him like lobbing the ball.
He's not actually.
Would have been better off.
He's not actually been that great on the ball, though, has he?
Genuinely better. You'd have been. But yeah, the amount of.
No, we wouldn't have been. Mate,
times he messes up.
You were at the cup final. You saw what De Gea did.
He won Golden Glove that year.
Mate, he chucked it in a cup final. You can't be...
Ads, do you think enough's been done to sort of transform what we saw throughout the entire season last year, to transform into what's good for United next year?
I don't think you can do that in one window, Flav. I think they've started with the forward area. The pitch was the biggest problem. They couldn't create chances. They couldn't score goals.
Yeah. But I think like, if he doesn't get it right so early on, then Amorim's potentially in trouble.
I think he's going to be given a lot of time.
Yeah, I do as well. I get that feeling that he's under no pressure, really.
Is there 14th, 13th?
Is one of the reasons why... Shut up. you not so much giving him time from the ball, but the fans there's something about Amorim when he speaks, the way he looks, the way he comes across. It makes you believe. When you see him interviewed, I think he's
mustard, man.
Yeah, exactly. So you like him because he comes, but the results have been awful. Awful. And
I think we kind of understand that. And look, they should have been better than they were. They should have been better than they were. But we kind of understand the situation he got the job in. And I also think Ratcliffe and everyone behind him was probably expecting it as well. Not as bad as it was. We should have been higher up the table in the top 10 for sure. And we should have been better in the European final. But he has been dealing with things you look at Garnacho. Look, I'm really disappointed with the situation. Someone that scores an FA Youth Cup final, scores an FA Cup final, comes through the academy, and he just turns into this little knobhead. And it's what's going on? Do you know what I mean? You can't have those in the dressing room. You can't have that in the dressing room. And I think we were impacted by time wasters in the dressing room. And I think it's a lot easier for the manager to get his message across now to a dressing room full of players that actually want to be there, whether we want them there or not. A dressing room full of players there. And we've got one game a week. I know we'd rather be in the Champions League, we'd rather have beat Spurs. But I think one game a week's important as well, because we're kind of talking about City's pre-season going into the season. Now, the demands aren't on us to win the league. And I think the manager will be using those early few weeks as time to get his message across again. And he showed last season when he had a week or 10 days to train the players and coach the players for a game. We did well. I think we beat City. We went and got a good result at the Emirates in the Cup. So I think we smashed Arsenal first game of the season.
Where do you think you'll finish?
Stolzy.
Where do you think you'll finish? Sorry.
Stolzy, what is realistic this season? What's a successful season for the manager this season? I
was just going to ask Adam the same thing. It's a tricky one, isn't it? From being so bad last year. Now look, seasons can change. We see, as you mentioned before, your season Forest has. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to take 5 to 10 years to get back where you want to be. I still think there's issues, although it's looking better, I still think that there are issues with the team. As we mentioned, the midfielder, we don't want to go through it again. Top 6? I think top 6 would be more than acceptable at this. But as much as you don't want to say that, because I always think managers should have the very best, should aim for the very best, should aim for the highest. I'm just not sure. I think there's too many good teams now. I think your Liverpools, your Cities, your Chelseas are on the up. Arsenal, I didn't even mention Aston Villa's, Newcastle's. I think there's a lot of competition now to get in that top 6. And 6.
I think United are more than capable of challenging, not probably Champions League positions, but no chance. But in terms of being around,
what you want to do is get close to them by February, March, and then because you never know, someone might have a bad season. You've seen teams kind of drop in and out. But I think the main thing for us is to actually feel like we're progressing and feel like the team's getting better. Because there's been times in the past where we
all have to finish 14th and not maybe.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm on about on the pitch. Show me something on the pitch. I want to see this team developing and getting better. And so then we can go, actually, if you add those 2 or 3 players into it, they will get top 4. They will be able to challenge for the league. So I think progression on the pitch and the way we're playing and the way it feels, I think, is more important. Because there's been times where we've got top 4, but it's felt crap. And we've known it's felt like that, and it's not really felt like a top 4. So I think
there's a lot of very good players there. Last season was unacceptable, really, wasn't it? But I felt like there was an acceptance to it. With the last 3 months here, we're just going to get beat. Nobody seems that bothered about it. Now that obviously can't start the season with that attitude. There's got to be more pressure on him. Of course there is, but like he says, I think he will get time, and I think he started. When you try and rebuild teams, I think most start from the back going forward, don't they? I think we've started from the front because that was obviously the biggest issue. We've got a defence and a goalkeeper that might concede goals, and if we can't score goals at the other end, we've got no chance. So it gives more chance of winning games.
I think that first game of the season, it almost feels like going into the season in terms of managers, there's going to be a lot of pressure and eyes on Amorim because it didn't go particularly well last season, but also Arteta for different reasons. That it's almost he's got to win something. I just feel that first game for both managers. I know it's one game.
Yeah, Carragher against Amorim and all
no, but
the storylines that are there.
It'll be on Sky. We'll build it up, and I think for someone to lose that game will be a real big blow for them. You know,
I said it since the fixture list come out. We beat them.
Adam, one team you didn't beat from North London at the end of last season was Spurs. So Flav, I'm going to come to you.
Yes.
On the back of the euphoric celebrations and emotion, were Spurs right to get rid of Ange Postecoglou?
Yeah. So I said something
Sell out you are, man.
No, I mean, yeah, I am. But I appreciate that. But like, just after the win and the glory of it, it felt just so cruel and just complete opposite of what it means to be glorious in football. Is to sack a man who's just delivered us a European trophy, the first significant trophy in 40 years. However, in the cold light of day, a week later, you're starting to think, we were terrible. And you were saying it for that 2 years, how bad we were, and I wouldn't believe it. But when you look back at it, you just can't be that easy to beat. I mean, you can't give up on a domestic campaign in February with the idea of winning the Europa League. It's not sustainable. So Daniel Levy was correct.
You even got beat the game after, didn't you? You got battered, didn't you?
Last game of the season was it?
Brighton at home.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. We'd go to games and you're just like, how many are we going to get beat by today? And you didn't feel anything by the end. You can't go to a game. You mentioned it, Man United.
That's what we were like. Yeah.
It's bizarre feeling. Like, it doesn't matter that we keep getting beat because we've got Bodo Glimt on Thursday. You can't operate like that. Yeah. So probably right.
I mean, listen, he's your owner. We talk about him a lot, Daniel Levy, and I think he made the right decision. And what I found a little bit contradictory was a little bit of a lot of people saying, I can't believe he sacked him.
Yeah.
But then people all last season were saying, we can't believe Man United kept Erik ten Hag and he won a trophy. It was almost like you're having one argument for Tottenham and maybe people feeling a little bit sympathetic towards Ange. So the easy decision for Daniel Levy, or the easy thing to do, to just believe Ange there, he gets no criticism. Yeah. The harder thing to do was to sack him. He's probably going to get more criticism, but it was the right decision. That was Daniel Levy, I think, making a really good decision, for the benefit of the club.
And Daniel Levy is elite at taking all emotion and sometimes joy out of the game and making the right, sensible decision for the football club. Whether that is in line with how supporters feel is another conversation altogether. But yeah, no doubt he probably did make the right decision. And you can't bring in people like Venkatesham and Langer who have opinions on how we progress and ignore those people. So I think it was a universal decision to get rid of him, and you kind of heard that from the interview you mentioned earlier about that Gary did with Daniel Levy, that there's a different approach to what Tottenham need to do next year, and finishing 17th just cannot. The amount of money that's spent on that squad and the amount of money it costs to go and watch Tottenham, you can't go in there getting battered by Leicester and Ipswich.
What would the feeling be with Tottenham supporters around the new manager in terms of what he has to do this season? Because, people won't remember Ange for finishing, 16th? 17th. They'll remember the Europa League, and that'll almost, the best thing that happened to Ange in terms of winning that and just going straight away, that'll always be, in the mindset of supporters. Yeah. Will that make it more difficult in some way for Thomas Frank coming in?
No, I think the league form makes it a brilliant position for him to come in, because you're going to see a significant uptick, you'd imagine, in how we perform in the league, how difficult we were going to be to beat. And what we've found thus far, I think maybe some people might have been a little bit hesitant about bringing Thomas Frank in, because it's such a shift from Postecoglou. But it was a necessary shift, and that kind of sensible, pragmatic approach to gaining percentages where Postecoglou seemed to be indifferent to, like corners and set pieces. And we know how good Frank has been at Brentford at making them effective at set pieces. There was a moment after Arsenal beat us, and there was 2 corners that went in, and Ange was asked about set pieces, and then he was like, well, we've got bigger problems to fix, we're not worried about that in a moment. And as a fan, your alarm bells a little bit going. So Frank's come in and like, how do I find these percentages, these margins that Postecoglou ignored, and including a few quality signings? How do we make a better fist of it next season? And I feel really confident. I always do, but I feel really confident. I think we're definitely going to finish above United, and 100%.
It's difficult to do that because we're going to finish first. So.
Well, and I'm saying Spurs are going to finish 5th. And I feel confident about that. I don't feel like it's, come on here and say something stupid so it gets clipped up. I generally think 5th could be achievable at Tottenham.
A man who won't be involved in that is Son. And I think he's one of those players who almost, a bit like you, Scholes, everybody likes. One of them players in the Premier League going, even if he plays for a rival, Son, you're like, you didn't like Scholes, Baz, no?
I love Scholes.
I
don't like Son. I haven't forgive Son for the tackle on Gomez, but that's a different...
behave. What about Pickford's on Van Dijk?
There we go,
but, Scholes, I wanted to ask you, he hasn't won the biggest of trophies, like sort of Champions Leagues or things like that. But where would you rate him in sort of like the last decade or so in terms of attacking players in the Premier League?
Well, one of the best.
Yeah.
I think obviously had a little bit of a drop off the last year, 18 months or so. Picked up a bit of injury, but age does that to you, doesn't it? I think I was always surprised, Jamie, when Tottenham had a good team. They had Harry Kane, and I try to think of other forwards. You had maybe Dele Alli was in that era as well, and him. He was never linked with going away to a bigger club. I thought, well, what's going on there? Because every time I saw it, I thought, he's brilliant. Him scoring goals at City. When City were a good team.
Every game he scored.
Yeah,
he's quick. He scored goals. He could play left, right. He could play through the middle. I never understood why it wasn't like us, Man United going in for him with, the bigger teams, the Real Madrids, the Barca. I really felt he was that good.
I think you're tapping into one of the reasons why Spurs fans considered Heung-min Son to be a legend, 100%. And I think I speak for most Spurs fans that would say if you have to choose one between who is a legend at Tottenham, is it Harry Kane or Heung-min Son? It would be Son, and it was like you say, you were tapping into.
Yeah, that's only because Harry Kane's left, though, isn't it?
Exactly right. So the moment there was a period, mainly down to Gary Neville's industry, and he did. I don't know how this interview even took place, and I'd love to find out.
Is that the same industry that you benefit from coming on this show?
Well, you got to pick your battles, I guess.
Who ever thought Carragher would defend Gary Neville so passionately?
I would like to know
getting paid.
Yes. But whatever it was, in my opinion, it was unprofessional behaviour by Harry Kane, and he should never have done that interview. I appreciate it's newsworthy, but it shouldn't have happened. And so we were in a situation where our greatest ever player arguably wanted out to join Manchester City. It's fair enough, maybe matching a team that's equivalent to his abilities is a fair thing for him to want to do. But in that same moment where it felt like we were losing Harry Kane, Heung-min Son signed a new contract from nowhere. And the reason why no other bigger club came in for Heung-min Son isn't because he wasn't good enough. He was under contract, and sometimes players are available and they're not.
That doesn't matter though, does it?
Well, it mattered here because he was never in any way.
You think anybody ever came for him? Came in for him?
No one would want Heung-min Son in 10 years at being at Spurs. Surely they would.
I just think that he wouldn't answer. Levy wouldn't answer the knock at the door. It's the same with Harry Kane. We had no chance to sign. It wasn't even entertained, was it?
Yeah. Well, that was.
So it'd be the same with Son, surely.
Yeah, and whatever it is, he stayed when Harry Kane wanted to leave, and he was you mentioned about him being through part of that team with Dele Alli, Eriksen, Son, and Kane. That was one part of his time at Spurs. There was a middle part where it was just him and Kane as that front two under Conte and Mourinho, and they were prolific. Kane leaves, and then it's just him, and he stayed, and he won us a trophy. And I get outside people might sniff at that, but as a narrative around a player who stayed with us for 10 years, as good as him, to win a trophy at the end, as well as staying in a time where we needed him, that's all you need to be a legend.
It's the way he handles himself as well, and it just comes across as
he's a good lad.
You look at Isak.
He's almost leaving in the right way as well, isn't
literally wins a fan base over. Like half of our fan base have turned against Isak at the minute because of what's happened. And you look at that with Son. Son's just stuck his guns, and that's why he's a legend.
I think that's a really, really interesting thing, that in terms of players agitate for a move. Yeah. Maybe they get that move, they win the trophies, but the feeling around them isn't the same. Whereas, now, I don't know, I'm not saying one's more than the other, because sometimes you look at a player and he's got out of a club and he's gone on to win whatever he's won. Maybe even look at someone like, who's just come to mind, maybe Teddy Sheringham was at Tottenham for a long time, then he goes to Man United. I don't know if it was a problem with him leaving, but what I'm saying is he then wins what he does at United, but is that feeling lost at Tottenham? At Tottenham? Yeah. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Teddy Sheringham was a legend at Spurs and went to Man United and really sullied it. Yeah, he won the lot. Well done. But
he could argue that. I'm not saying one's right or the other.
As an individual, he made the right decision, and so did Kane. I'm not debating that. But as a football fan, the minute a player agitates to move or achieves a move, then their legacy, in my opinion...
Sometimes it's not always the player's fault, is it? That he has to agitate for a move. Let's take the Isak one, for example, that maybe Liverpool's been chasing him for a while, and they're waiting for him to put a bid in. And they put the bid in, they thought, yeah, great, they're going to accept it. Or they're not going to accept it, obviously they don't accept it. Then he's probably getting pressure from Liverpool to say, right, we now need you to go in and try and be a bit naughty about it, try and agitate for a move. That's just what happens, and that pressure's on Isak then from the club where he wants to go. He clearly wants to go and play for.
I think so. We've just bring it in, Joe, Newcastle fan. This is your debut. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure. I think you've started us off on the one that gets me really, really hated by a lot of Newcastle fans, I suppose. Before Isak disappeared to Spain, and before all of that situation of not wanting to travel to Singapore, I think personally Isak was justified, and I know there's a lot of Newcastle fans out there who sit there and go, no player's bigger than the club, and I don't think it even needs to come to that argument. Majority of, and this goes even further than Newcastle fans, there's many football fans out there who rate Isak like he's the best striker in the world, and if that's the case, why is he on less wages than the likes of a Jack Grealish who barely plays? Why is he not getting the money that he deserves? And I personally think at first when he came out...
What do you mean, while he's at Newcastle now?
Yeah, like
because when he came, he wasn't the best in the world.
No, then he wasn't. But I think I said this last season. I went before this season ends. We need to be putting bigger wages on Isak if we expect to keep him. If we expect to keep him happy, I think he deserves it. Do I think he deserves 350,000 a week? Maybe not. But I think what's wrong with negotiating a 250,000 contract now, though, as bringing up the loyalty conversation there. Now that he's chucked his dummy out the pram and all his toys, and we've seen, when the clubs came back, everyone's been given a day off and Isak's been in training by himself. That's punishment. No way about it.
It's not so much about the money though, is it? Because Newcastle will be afford to give him that 250, 300 grand. They'll be able to give him the same wage as Liverpool. But if he goes to Liverpool, he's winning trophies.
Would he sign? I think we've just got to clarify. I think what he's talking about, what happened with him was, there's a feeling that when Amanda Staveley was there, I think about 12 months ago, they've moved on. Because he'd made such a good start and he signed a 5-year contract or something. He's probably on good dough, but not amazing dough, because he's not this world-class striker. Yeah. Once he's become that, I think he was told that your wage is going to go. They then left the club, and then they had the PSR issues. Yeah. And then I think the sporting director from last year, Mitchell, came in and was a bit like, we can't afford to put him on 250, 300 grand a week. Remember last summer, Newcastle were sort of players were coming in and out. So I think, he's still got a bee in his bonnet about that when you read between the lines. So that's where you're saying you've got...
You would though, wouldn't you? As a player, you would.
If he
as a player, you would.
Isak as well, when you say that about trophies, I know you don't really appreciate the Carragher Cup, Paul, but the trophies...
I do now.
He won. Do you now? Why couldn't you just win it next season? No, but for me, like, Isak won that trophy and he was dead proud. You've seen how happy he was, and I think he knew in his mind, and again it goes back to the Paul Mitchell conversation, what's happened behind the scenes where Isak has been all of a sudden told, right, you're not getting the money, to make Isak unhappy. The back end of that season, he seemed like one of the happiest players on our squad. He's celebrating, he's coming out talking about so much. He was in a great position, and all he really needed was that bump in wages, and now he hasn't received that, and I kind of understand.
I didn't realise. I didn't know that was a case.
I get it. To draw Liverpool as well. It's not just the wages.
Exactly. Like I get that. It's Liverpool. It's a bigger club, if you will. You know, they've just won the Premier League.
If you will, no.
It's not so much the club; it's the chance of winning trophies.
Well, I think for Isak,
you could win the Premier League. You could win the Premier League. You could win
Champions League.
Yeah.
Like, would I want to sit here and say as a hot take, are Newcastle going to win the Champions League? I would love to say that, and forget about the transfer window that we're having at the moment. I would love to say that. Is it going to happen? No, it's not realistic. Isak's looking at it, and he goes to, say, a Man City or a Liverpool, and he goes, well, I could win the Champions League with them, become this world star, and really become the next Ibrahimovic, say, like he was pipped to be. He was going to be that next big star. I don't know. It's a horrible, horrible situation to be in.
It's obviously because it looks like he's going to Liverpool, my team. I've never been, well, two of us haven't, we've never been involved in a transfer. Yeah. You know, we've always sort of, but I'd hate to think I would act like that. Or I'm not talking about Isak, I'm talking about players trying to get out of clubs, whether it's you're saying you're injured and you're not, or you don't turn up for training. I'm 99.9% certain I don't think I would ever do that. That club have brought you over, they're paying your wages, you're a god to the supporters. I mean, Isak, I know you mentioned the Carabao Cup last season about Newcastle and that, but for Newcastle fans, that's like winning the Champions League. You haven't won a trophy for 70 years?
70 years, yeah.
So he is a god. And when I go back to sort of the Tottenham thing with Son, I'm not saying he shouldn't want to move. I can understand him saying to Eddie Howe, listen, have been amazing. You can get a big fee for me. Liverpool's another level. They're not happy to be in the Champions League. They want to win the league, the Champions League. I get that. But I don't think he's conducted himself really well. And he's going to lose that love that he's had. And that'll last a lifetime, that. Those Newcastle fans will never forget it. In that situation. So I'm almost disappointed a little bit with that. But what I would say is, and I've had this at Liverpool, and sometimes a player outgrows the team. You're a team who will fight for the Champions League to qualify. He's probably can play in a team who can win it.
Yeah.
And when that gap becomes too big, that's when you've got a problem as a player. And it happened to me with us at Liverpool, with Steven Gerrard. But we were lucky that he was a Liverpool fan and he was from the city. If Steven Gerrard wasn't a Liverpool fan, he'd have left.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah.
Because he was there and the team was there. Now, when Rafa Benitez came in, we won a Champions League, got to another final, we had a really good team and we were sort of there. But we had Alonso, Torres, Mascherano. As soon as our level dropped, they left. Because they were world-class players, but we weren't a world-class team. And that's the problem you're always having. That was the problem with Kane, with Tottenham. And that's the problem Newcastle have got right now. Almost Isak's become too good in some ways, where it's like he's thinking, this is not my level. So I understand he wants to move. I don't think people should have a go at him for that. But I don't think this thing about like not turning up for training or not going
that's the bad side.
Which is why I'm trying to defend him for kicking up a fuss. Now, I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. And I think it's very difficult for me and James to say we'd never kick up a fuss because we're at the clubs of our dreams already, do you know what I mean? Now, I don't think we can... Well, we are, aren't we?
No, I was an Everton fan, he's giving me a look, you see.
Oh, no. The second club of his dreams.
That's the one.
So if Everton came in, he might kick up a fuss.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's very difficult to say we wouldn't kick up a fuss if we weren't. I love Newcastle. Newcastle, brilliant club. I love playing there. It was brilliant, but Liverpool... You've got to think of the lad's career as well, and he wants to win. So it's all right saying 300 grand a week and 250 grand a week, brilliant, but when you look back at the end of your career, you want to see the medals you've won as well, and he's got a much better chance of winning the proper trophies at Liverpool.
Seeing now, that's where I think a lot of our fans are starting to get themselves a little bit lost, and they're living in this sort of grandeur. I'm going to get slated when I go back to Newcastle here.
Oh, you'd be all right.
This grandeur, they're going to be putting us in her top. This grandeur that, right, we've won the first cup, this is the beginning now. Next year we'll win the FA Cup, and then the year after that we'll win the Champions League because we'll stay in the Champions League, and then we'll win the Premier League. And like, this isn't how it's going to go down. And Isak's looking at that. Isak's at the age now where he wants to go, right, how do I want to spend the next 4 years, which are potentially his peak years? How do I want to spend the next 4 years of my career? Do I want to be fighting to get back into the Champions League, or do I want to be fighting to get into the final of the Champions League, onto that podium? So I do understand that. I do get him with that. I think what a lot of fans look at is the likes of like Bruno and Joe Linton, who have sort of literally painted themselves black and white to the very core of the veins, and they think every single player should do that. And like you have just said there, if you're at the club of your dreams, you will.
But the point you've just made, I think it's an interesting point. Those players are top players.
Yeah.
Ran all over Liverpool in the cup final, but they haven't outgrown Newcastle, where they're like, that are a lot better than your team.
I think that Bruno's got an argument there. Like, I think
maybe.
Definitely.
I think you're saying in best position. Bruno's a brilliant player.
Yeah.
Is he the best midfield player in the world? We're talking about Isak as the best centre forward in the world. Tonali.
Do you think it would be better for Newcastle to sell Isak in this window?
Putting my neck on the line here. Look, I think if we were able to get the right fee for him,
what is that?
I was saying this, for me, I want a price tag over at least £150 million.
No chance.
In for Isak.
No chance.
Serious.
I wouldn't want Liverpool to pay 150 million for it.
Would you, if he has a one for you though, right? And like any Liverpool fans, I wonder what the take is on this, where if you, before Isak kicked up the fuss and done everything he'd done, fresh off the end of the season, and you got told you need to pay 150 million, you just haven't bought Ekatike yet, you need to pay 150 million for Isak, are you then paying it?
That's a really good point. And the reason I'm talking about the 150, for me, I said it on the to the lads, to Liverpool fan before Robbo, that the fact Liverpool have spent 80 million on a striker already, I'm like, you can't have like a backup. It just feels 80 million on a backup striker. But I get what you're saying. If Liverpool hadn't bought Ekatike, I'd maybe say, oh, just do it. But there's something about it now. 150 million for me, I said before, it feels like you're getting Mbappe for that. I think Isak's amazing, but I'm thinking 150 million. It's like, wow.
You're paying for his growth. I think, look.
That feels. You look at how far you go. If someone says, well, pay
You've got
more,
to grow into R9 to be worth 150 million.
What's Haaland? If it's 150, what's Haaland?
It's
also
unpriced.
You now paid 50 for him, didn't you? Everyone got weighed in there. Don't worry about that.
But no, I honestly, for me, would I sell Isak? No, personally, I want by the end of the summer transfer window for Isak to be on a new higher wage contract, guaranteed that he's going to be out there fighting for trophies.
He ain't going to sign a new contract. He won't sign a new contract.
I don't think that's going to happen now.
But
realistically.
Newcastle should adamantly refuse to sell under no circumstances, and saying you are under contract, you have to play next season. He's not going to just pack and say, well, I'm not playing. Force him to show the muscle. Newcastle fans never stop telling us how big a football club they are. Act like it and force him to say, I'm not saying you aren't huge, but you've got to act like it.
Supporters can. I mean, I'm sure at the moment Newcastle fans are going mad. We had a situation at Liverpool with Suarez where he wanted to go to Arsenal. The next season he had his best season of his life. Yeah. And the fans still love him and love him. So it can happen. What I wanted to ask you though, you know the fact that Liverpool and Newcastle play each other so early in the season. So it's your first home game of the season.
Yeah.
I can't see a deal being done before that. I think both clubs will just think, no.
But then what does happen then? Like, are we going to have? And now this is my issue when we talk about it, and I will mirror exactly what you've just said there about we talk about being a bigger club, we talk about this, and this is where I look at a lot of our fans. And I look at what we're doing in a minute, and a lot of our fans are going on about how PSR's restricting where this is restricting where we were meant to have this summer window where it's our first green window where we can pay, we can go out there. And instead, we're going out and lowballing offers for the likes of Ekatike, and we're putting in a £69 million bid, and what Liverpool got
James
for what?
Trafford as well.
He was James Trafford. We messed up that. In Buemo, we messed up that. And I know a lot of Newcastle fans have totally overlooked this, and I got a lot of hate for this. But personally, I can't believe how long it took you to mention Ryan Cherki earlier. You've got one of the best wingers. Yeah. And how much was it? 39 million. So all
25. Maybe,
25, even worse. So all we had to do was realistically, this club who's got tons of money, go in there and turn around and go, there's 40 million for Cherki, and probably have got him. Yeah? Yeah.
But he's not going to go to. Why would he go to Newcastle over City?
Because of the potential. The potential of what's coming.
You're selling your best striker.
The project. Well, there's that side of it as well. Not willingly, but that's what I feel like. You look at the likes of Bruno, Gordon, Elanga. Most of the time when you talk about it, how are we getting them players in? Because it baffles me. Don't get us wrong, it baffles me. And the whole reasoning is the project.
Listen, I know you're frustrated at the moment. It's been your debut, fantastic. But I want to go to Ellen the next year, a Sunderland fan. Are you quite enjoying what's going on here at Newcastle at the minute?
It's mint.
Take my leave.
I mean, we've had 9 years out of the Prem now, and we've had 9 years of like watching them getting taken over and watching them sign mint players and all of this. And to have a window where we're actually on the front foot a bit, we're getting some good signings in, and it just all seems to be burning to the ground and collapsing. It's quite a nice juxtaposition to be in at the moment. I mean, we've had our fair share of our fans kind of turning up at the training ground and having a go, but then to see it from the flip side, it is Sunderland. We're a bit boring at the moment. And it's weird. Like I was saying before, it's been 9 seasons of. We are either in a promotion push or we are in a relegation battle. And don't get me wrong, that might be the case in 2 weeks' time. We might be having that conversation again. But right now, to be confident in our ownership, which we certainly weren't the last time we were in the Prem, to be mostly confident in what we've done in the transfer window so far, to sign Granit Xhaka, like, it's going well for us at the moment.
Is
and
that
that's
the signing
a nice
you like
change.
most? Xhaka coming in, because you've signed a lot of players, haven't you?
Yeah, we've made some really, really good signings. I mean, for me, seeing us complete the deal on Enzo Lafay with how important he was for us last season, that is a great signing we've made. But I went we played Real Betis in a friendly on Saturday, and Xhaka was just head and shoulders above everyone else on that pitch, watching him put in corners, just watching kind of the way he was able to talk to the young lads on the pitch and the direction he was giving them as well. We've been promoted with a very young team. We like bringing youth through. We've got the likes of like Chris Rigg, who I can't wait to see play in the Premier League. I think it's going to be amazing. But we have got some very, very young lads in there. So to have that kind of confident captain, because Labrice has said he will be our captain next season, to have that confident captain giving them that direction on the pitch but also in the dressing room, I think it's not only invaluable for our first season back in the Prem, but it's also a real statement of intent. We've signed him on a 3-year contract. We're going, actually, we are Sunderland, here's what we can do, now we're back.
Talk to us about the manager. You've mentioned he's obviously signed a contract as well in the last few days. I mean, he's obviously got you up. Is he a big hero? Is it all about him, really?
He's a really funny one because he is a really big hero and everyone loves him and we all think he's fantastic. But he's just very kind of in his box and he takes each game as it comes and he just goes next one, next one, next one. We were on like an incredible run. I think we were within a point of being in the automatics last season and a journalist went to him like, oh, so how are we doing? Like, it's really great. The fans are all up for it. And he just went, it is good. And that was his comment on it. And that, again, quite nice not to have drama surrounding something that's going on at Sunderland. It's a manager who's just very much got his head in the game. He obviously wants to be here. He signed a contract till 2028 and he's just kind of ready to keep moving forward with the club and keep developing the players we've got. It's a nice time to be a Sunderland fan, which I don't remember the last time we were able to say that.
I think Sunderland are one of them teams. I'm delighted that he's back. I always love, the derby game feels massive. Listen, it is
I'm
huge.
so excited.
Helena, do you fancy your chances? Knocking these down a peg or two, Champions League team?
Look, whatever I say, he's going to bring up the cup game, and that is completely fair enough. I'd like, hands up, that was probably the worst I've seen us played, and that's including the 5 times in one season I went to watch us play Accrington Stanley. Like, that genuinely... It was a horrific game. It was the worst we'd looked that season. We were coming off the back of sacking...
Was it last season or the season before?
Was
it last season?
It was season before, it wasn't last season, yeah, because we were coming off the back of sacking Tony Mowbray, and there was just we'd appointed Michael Beale, who did... I mean, I'm just not going to go there, but we were coming off the back of sacking this manager who was beloved. The fans were down, and then all of a sudden, it's like... your phone explodes, oh my God, we've got the Mags in the cup, and you just have to switch your mindset. But in the league, yeah, I do fancy us.
No.
It's 6 in a row for a reason. You haven't beat us in the league in the last 6 times we've played you.
One thing I will remember though, last season as well, the Lasses beat us twice and then we've beat you in the cup as well. I get it in the league 6 in a row, but that's how many years ago?
The league is a different animal completely to the
How many years ago was the last time we faced off in the league?
20... Oh God, yeah. 20, no, because you were in the Championship that season.
Don't think I'd even grown a beard then. Still waiting actually. But
because you were in the Championship, the year we went down, so what we're looking 2016, 2015, the last time we played each other.
A lot's changed,
But a lot's changed for us as well. Fair. I mean, we talk about the fact we're back in the Prem. Yes, it's a very, very different league to the last time we were there. You guys are very different, but we are a completely different setup. What goes on behind the scenes at Sunderland is a completely different setup to what was going on back then. You look at the players we've got in, I mean, even in those 2 seasons, we have completely different players to the ones you'll see on the pitch. Granted, bless his heart, because he saved us against Coventry and he got that header. Ballard will still be on the pitch and he did score that own goal against you guys.
Thankful.
But we're a different team, and for so long it's been, look, someone hasn't scored in, I don't know, 3 months. Well, they're going to Sunderland next season, they're definitely going to put one past us. For so long it's been like, oh, well, it's Sunderland, so that's going to happen. When it comes to staying up this season, when it comes to kind of being the underdogs, that's where we thrive.
Well, the team you need to take a leaf out of their book in terms of staying up is a Brentford who came up a few years ago and have thrived ever since. Dave, we've got you on. It's your debut. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
Is this one of the first summers where you've maybe been actually worried about Premier League survival? Because there feels like there's been an awful lot of change at Brentford this summer.
There's been a huge amount of change, yeah. I think it's difficult to kind of speak with any kind of certainty about what's going to happen. Losing Thomas Frank to Tottenham, then losing Brian Mbeumo, the knock-on effect from the Isak drama is Johan Wieser's doing exactly the same as Isak is.
Pull the finger out.
Have Newcastle been unsettling on your striker?
Yeah. I mean, then we've been told off by the Jim Reaper at Man United for sort of like not accepting derisory offers from Mbeumo. So it's been Norgard going to Arsenal. It's been a churny summer, which we've not been used to that. It's been stable, and we've literally reached a level where I think we're kind of like more than holding our own, and I think it's unsettling some fans that could be about to change, but I don't think so.
What was your reaction when it was announced Keith Andrews would be the manager?
We were all itching our heads, scratching our heads, kind of going, surely not the free kick coach. But once the kind of the headline had worn off, and you found out why Keith Andrews was originally brought in by the same team of people that scouted Thomas Frank and all that backroom staff that we've lost to Tottenham, those people identified something in Andrews that they liked, and they thought that he had a big future in the game. And although they originally gave him that free kick coach role, that doesn't really define him. So I think possibly that this has come a little bit earlier than they thought. But I think Thomas Frank was always going to be, headhunted at some stage.
Baz, what's your feeling going into the season in terms of Everton? Moisey sounded a little bit unhappy with his own board, a little bit not maybe getting deals done. I think a week ago he said that. It looks like he might have got a couple of players in now. The feel-good factor of last season of Moyes coming back, is that sort of...